वासुदेवाय ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वती शृण्वतां स्वकथा कृष्णा हृदयन्तस्थो ह्यभद्राणि विदुनोति सुरेशभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवतसेवया भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी. Summary of chapter 16 from the end of 4. But I just wanted to read one verse before we kind of cover the summary. So I'll be just reading the verse 23 from this chapter. Visfurjayan dhanusvayam yada charat kshamam tada nililyur ashanto langulam yamya yata mrigendra ajagamam dhanusvayam yada charat kshamam abhisahyamajav tada nililyur dishi dishi ashanto langulam udyamya yata mrigendra. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Translation. When the lion travels in the forest with its tail turned upward, all menial animals hide themselves. Similarly, when King Prithu will travel over his kingdom and vibrate the string of his bow, which is made of the horns of goats and bulls and is irresistible in battle, all demoniac rogues and thieves will hide themselves in all directions. Purport. It is very appropriate to compare a powerful king like Prithu to a lion. In India, Kshatriya kings are still called Singh, which means lion. Unless rogues, thieves, and other demoniac people in a state are afraid of the executive head who rules the kingdom with a strong hand, there cannot be peace or prosperity in the state. Thus, it is most regrettable when a woman becomes the executive head instead of a lion like king. In such a situation, the people are considered very unfortunate. End of purport. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Nitinamine Namaste Saraswate Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvizesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshadarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare. I humbly seek the blessings of all assembled Vaishnavas and thank you myself by reading and some. Please forgive if I'm.
Oh, Hare Krishna. Prabhu, your voice is coming and going, it sometimes fades.
Okay.
It's not like.
Let me keep it.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're in this chapter 16 titled The Price of King Prithu by the Professional Reciters. And here we see how King Prithu is being glorified of great qualities like he will be respectful to all women, and that he'll be truthful, he'll distribute the wealth equally to everyone, and he'll be equipoised to in punishing enemies versus his friends and family. So we heard so many good qualities, and that's kind of the beauty of Srimad Bhagavatam, where we hear what the good qualities are in great personalities, and that way we get inspired also to develop those qualities. And just by reading and hearing about those qualities, we also develop the qualities in time. So today, I just wanted to focus on that verse number 23 we read. And I heard a nice lecture on this verse where the analogy is given here is also compared to how the chanting of the holy names, especially in this Kali Yuga, can be very effective in reaching the Supreme Lord, in the lotus feet of Supreme Lord. So here in this particular verse, verse 23, we see how the first analogy given is that when the lion travels in the forest with its tail turned upward, all menial animals hide themselves. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur, in one of his writings on chanting with quality, says that the chanting of the holy names is like a lion. Because when you chant purely, all the sinful activities, like all the menial animals described in this verse, will go away. And Sachinandan Maharaj also has a nice uh, article on this topic of how the holy names of the Lord can be used as um, the living entity, and holy names are compared to a bow and arrow, like mentioned in the also in this verse. In this verse, we saw that we see that it's explained that when King Prithu will travel over his kingdom and vibrate the string of his bow, which is made of the horns and goats of bull, which is made of the horns of goats and bulls, and is irresistible in all battle, all demoniac rogues and thieves will hide themselves in all directions. And also in the previous verse 22, it is said that King Prithu will level the surface of the earth with the pointed ends of his bow. There's another verse in Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 7, Chapter 15, Text 42. It says that the Vedic mantras is the bow, and the pure living entity himself is the arrow. And then the target is the Supreme Being. So, in this lecture, Sachinandan Maharaj basically describes how the living entity and the holy name can be treated as a bow and arrow to reach the Supreme Lord's lotus feet. And he uses this acronym arrow to shows to guide on how to chant the holy names. So we look at what the acronym arrow stands for and how we can effectively chant to reach the lotus feet of the Lord. So the first A in the word arrow stands for alignment. And again, these are all, these may sound very basic and common sense, and we might have heard it many, many times, but I think it definitely doesn't hurt hearing again because we go through this chanting challenges every day. So, firstly, the A stands for alignment, and Maharaj says that one should align the body, mind, and heart, and one should be fully present and attentive while chanting. So, that, thereby, we avoid offenses. So, from a body perspective, our posture should be straight, and we should not be too comfortable in our posture because we might then doze away. So we should choose a correct posture, and also mainly we should pronounce clearly so we don't miss chanting the holy names correctly, especially when we chant with some speed. So Maharaj says that we should always vibrate and validate. So we should vibrate the holy names and also make sure we validate it by hearing every word of it. And typically a round should be between 7.5 minutes or 7 to 8 minutes. So if we know that our rounds are taking more than 10 minutes, then probably we were inattentive somewhere. And then if we are chanting very quickly within 5 minutes, then we skipped beats. So we should always also validate what's the timing of our chanting. And in terms of mind, Maharaj says that we should always bring back the drifting mind. And if the mind diverts, then we should just tell it simple instructions that just listen to the one word of the mantra, not even the whole mantra, but just listen to one word. And then we can visualize the mantra, and then we can take darshan of deities in between, so we can bring back the mind. And then in terms of heart, we should be aligned in heart also while chanting. And there are three analogies from Srimad Bhagavatam that Maharaj quotes. He says that one should long for the holy names like young birds are desperate for food from the mother bird. And the other analogy given in Srimad Bhagavatam is that a calf just runs to her mother when she wants milk. Typically, calf are tied, and then when they're released, then they run towards the mother for the milk. And then the third example given in Srimad Bhagavatam is also of a wife whose husband is not with her currently, but then she still hankers for his association. So we can say that our mind is not pure and is not looking for material things at this point, and we don't have these feelings. But even Rupa Goswami prays to the Supreme Lord, saying that he needs to develop attachment to the holy names. So we can always pray for such attachment and longing for the holy name. So then the R in the acronym ARROW stands for relationship. So we should be aware of our relationship with Krishna when we chant, especially. Of course, we should be always aware, but especially before chanting, we should try to remember our relationship. as the servant and master. And then the example Maharaj gave is that when we come back from work every day, we change our clothes, we become our dad or mother or husband, and we don't carry forward the work thoughts or work designations after we come home. So similarly, Maharaj was saying that before chanting, we should become aware of our position and what we are supposed to do and what our relationship is with the Supreme Lord, and then work towards it and chant in that mood. So then the second R in the word arrow stands for render service. So Maharaj says that once we have established a relationship, once we have reminded ourselves of a relationship, then we should render service in that mood. So when we chant, we should be chanting in a loving mood. We have to think that the 108 mantras we are going to offer should be of very good quality. Like an example Maharaj gave was that when Matajis make garlands in the temples, so they go through, they inspect every single flower before they make it into a mala, and if there is um, one single flower which is not good, then they throw that away, and then they only choose the good ones, so that the final mala looks very uniform and beautiful. So that is because every single flower is put attention to. Matajis look at every single flower and they put attention to check if it's good or bad. So similarly, when we chant, we should put attention to every mantra so that we can offer all 108 mantras as good mantras to the Supreme Lord. And then the O in the word arrow stands for opening the heart. And this is and we can develop this by hearing and understanding the mood of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu or Goswamis, who are always in the mood of hankering for the Supreme Lord and for chanting the holy names. So also opening of heart can mean that we appreciate what Lord has given us, and we should also write them down every day if possible, with a feeling of gratitude to the Supreme Lord, that in spite of my shortcomings, O Supreme Lord, you have awarded me so many blessings, uh, like having association with devotees, like having an opportunity to hear Srimad Bhagavatam, having a job, or having the opportunity to visit temple and take darshan of deities, having been blessed with a family, loving family. So we have so many things to be thankful for. So before chanting, we can review the whole list that we have been blessed with, and then thank the Supreme Lord, and then in that mood of gratitude we should chant, and this way we will also it'll be easier to chant attentively. So we feel the presence and the hand of the Lord everywhere, and in that mood if we chant, um, it'll be more attentive, because we are very grateful for the Lord, and then we want to thank the Lord by offering an attentive chanting. And then the final W in the word arrow stands for welcoming the divine gift. um, so as instructed by Krishna in in Bhagavad Gita, also that we should be living in the mood of surrender. And as also described in Nectar of Instruction, or other books, we have to stay in this mood of surrender. We always have to accept things that are favorable and reject things that are unfavorable, and also in believing that Supreme Lord is my ultimate protector. So even if we cannot live our entire life in the mood of surrender, but at least during chanting, we should try to get to this mood. And we also have to remember that we can't achieve Krishna, or we cannot reach Krishna by our endeavor only, but rather we can only receive Krishna by the mercy of other devotees, the Guru Parampara, and mercy of Krishna. So three things in this context of welcoming the divine gift is that we should try to live our life in surrender. At least during the chanting time, we should be totally in a surrendered mood, and seeking in a helpless way the mercy of the Supreme Lord. And secondly, we should be in a receiving mood. And then thirdly, we have to be patient. It is not like you chant attentively, you try to chant, and then you expect results immediately, but rather we should be patient And then that way we will receive the mercy. We know examples, so many great examples from Srimad Bhagavatam, especially Mother Draupadi, where she helplessly cried. She was totally surrendered at one point, and then when she helplessly cried, then the Lord came and reciprocated. So, um, so that's the W, the welcoming the given divine gift. So, in conclusion, we see how beautifully Maharaj explained this acronym arrow, and in summary, if we are aligned in the heart, body, and mind when we chant, and then when we understand a relationship with the Supreme Lord, and then in that relationship, when we render service, especially during chanting, we offer um, 108 very good quality mantras um, to the Supreme Lord, and also with open heart, in the sense that we express gratitude, we are thankful for all we have, and we are especially thankful for coming into Krishna consciousness and um, having experienced or heard about the glories of the Supreme Lord and what our ultimate purpose is. So we should act in that mood, and we should be very thankful and offer our chanting as an offering of gratitude towards the Supreme Lord. And finally, we welcome the gift of the holy name and mercy by doing all this. By doing all this, we purify ourselves, and the this arrow definitely will reach the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord. And when these prayers and when this attitude and when this chanting, high quality chanting, reaches the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord, then all the auspicious marks that are in the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord will help us overcome all the anarthas, and we can get to this blissful state of always chanting and being very happy in that just process of chanting the holy names. So those are some points I wanted to cover today. So I'll stop here at this point. And thank you for